Hi, my name is Prateek. I work as a technology lead at Porter. I have been at Porter for last 4 years now, and the journey has been phenomenal in terms of what I have learned and unlearned, and you'll see a part of that in the talk today. Outside work, I do like traveling, learning new languages, a bit of dancing, cooking, and taking care of my health. A bit about Porter before I start. Porter is the largest intracity marketplace for logistics. We connect businesses to our 4 lakh plus network of driver partners to solve their last mile delivery needs. We also solve use cases for you and me, like hyperlocal delivery and packers and movers, and with solutions of that order. Cool. Let's jump into the talk. So, how Rescript changed the way we think, and I should say, write code. So, before that, what is Rescript? So, Rescript is a language quite similar to JS, uh, but it has a robust type system of its own, and this type system is inspired and is from a battle-tested OCaml, which is a very quite old language and has been in the ecosystem for a long time. The second thing is it has a lean tool chain that does not waste your time. So by tool chain, I mean a network of a compiler and a network of libraries in the ecosystem. So you can see a project containing around 1 lakh lines of code takes approximately 41 seconds for the initial compile, and that reduces when you start like editing on top of it in the watch mode. Along with Rescript, obviously we have something called as Rescript React, which is like React only with bindings to the JS React. So on my left hand side of the screen, if you see, we have written a component in Rescript React, that is React using Rescript. And on the right hand side, the component is compiled to the JS. So the code, if you see on the right, is very similar to what the JS we write. So this is just to prove my point that Rescript is for the JS developers. Before I move forward, Rescript is designed to be for the JS developers and to create front end for the JS folks. So now, how has Rescript revolutionized front end at Porter and changed the way we think and write code? So right now we have 8 products in production on Rescript with around 5 lakh lines of code. And the way I would want to discuss this change is in under 3 heads. The first one is Rescript enables us to think in terms of functional paradigm. What does that mean? So functional programming is all about uh, seeing things or solving problems in terms of data and behavior. So if you see the component, which is a functional React component, and by that what I mean is if you give it the same data, it will render the same thing. So it's a pure function with no side effects. So if our code base is built out of these small components, or I should say composed of these small components which are pure in nature, overall you end up having a very robust and scalable code which is easy to debug, easy to extend, right? And let's understand it with a very quite a practical example. So imagine you are creating a geographically agnostic code base, which means a code base, for example, you are writing a front end, creating a front end for India, but you want to scale outside India. So what would be your the line of thinking? So generally, currency and timestamps are two things, or timestamp or date are two things that would come to my mind, and I would want them to model and work perfectly, right? So this is a timestamp module which we have written in Rescript, if you see. And on the left hand side, you have the, sorry, I think this is on the left hand side, you have the module, and the right hand side, I think there is some issue with the file. So that is interface. So that is my bad. So just you focus on the left hand side, what you'll see is a type T, which is float, and then it has certain functions or the helper functions associated with it, and this whole makes up a module. So now you don't have to worry about my timestamp is in float, Now, how do I convert it to this format, or how do I obey certain time zones? This module does everything for you. So if you say ki my order entity may whatever, say if you have an order entity and it has a timestamp you have defined of type timestamp.t, so you don't have to worry about any further. You'll just say timestamp dot set time zone, timestamp dot to string, to float, to JS date. So if you see the way we model or think about our entities, if that is correct, if that is working perfectly, then you don't need to worry about how it works in the system. Same way we have a currency module and things of that order. So that was number one, functional programming. Second thing is it has boosted our developer efficiency, and the reason for that is there are 3 bullet points. One is that statically typed language, which means compiler is your co-pilot. uh, when you write code, we know that it is going to work. If the code is compiling perfectly in your system, then you just need to ship it, bundle it, ship it to the client, and I can say with 99.9% guarantee that it will work, unless my APIs are not giving me what I want. If the APIs are giving me the right data, my code is going to work. So if I get a screen like this on my local, this is like a perfectly compiled code, it means it's going to work. Second is better time estimates. So for all us developers, time estimation is something we struggle with, and this is a side effect of us using Rescript and the associated philosophy. So if you see this is a typical time estimation for a project we did at Porter. And the way we do time estimation is we divide our the way we see our code, the same way we do the time estimation. So API models, entities, repos, domains, state mapper, view models. So we know these are the individual blocks of our code, the layers of our front end application, and we estimate the time for it. And if you see the actual, then we do some retro and see what actual time it is taking, and it's been helping us, and over the period of time we have improved our accuracy. So yes, so gone are the days when you say I need 20 days. At the end of 20 days, you say I need another 20 days. Okay. Uh, and the last thing is documentation is in the code. So I was talking about modeling entities, right? So if you see, this is a pricing dashboard campaign. It's a pricing dashboard which we have created on our end. And if you read this code, you will understand, even if you have very little context of the business or the language, you will understand what this code is doing or what is this modeled as. So here you see I have a type campaign which is of 4 types. It has certain attributes. And so imagine if you have a whole code written like this, whole code base written like this, it becomes so easy for the new developers, existing developers to read and understand what the code is doing. And the third thing is fast resolution of technical debts. So as we code, technical debts are a side effect, and they will come, you cannot avoid them. But what we can do is we can quickly identify them, and we all are good at identifying also. The problem comes when we have to resolve them. So if you see below, we did a code refactor and around 808 files changed. This is one of the code refactoring which we did. We created a in-house catalyst repo out of our we got some common code base out, and we just made it live in production with just one developer sanity and a small QA sanity, with zero production bugs. So that is how easy it is to do code refactorings and get rid of technical debts. Cool. So this is and the end. So this is how we see our front end application: view models, entity, API models, network requests is what we come outside. And when you see things like this, then you model them accordingly, and it just never disappoints you. So in the end, what I want to talk about with if you think about your problem right way, and then think about your mental models, basically, if your mental models of how you will write your code, if they are solid, then I can guarantee you that your code base is not gonna disappoint you. Cool. uh, so I'm grateful to this wonderful book, Domain Modeling Made Functional by Scott Mashin. Amazing book. Blush and Unraw, they always help me. Reason ML, the Rescript was earlier ReasonML, now it's Rescript, the folks who have created it and they support us, and the amazing team of Porter, without which I cannot imagine what we would have done. Twitter at Porter's booth. You can connect with me there. And yep, back to Tanisha.